Fired from the front door right through to the back. Very nice. Good times. All nice orange. Nozzleman's dream.
Little play on words, but that's the way we look at it. You know, oh, that was a good job.
A lot of fun.
All right, let's talk thermal imaging cameras. By the end of this training, everybody here should be able to do 3 things. 1, identify which TIC they're holding. 2, explain what it's meant to be used for. And 3, explain what it is not meant to be used for. Because TICs absolutely save lives, but only when we use the right camera, the right way, for the right job. A lot of confusion in the fire service doesn't come from bad equipment. It comes from bad expectations of good equipment. So today, we're clearing that up. Here's the big idea up front. Not all thermal imaging cameras are designed to do the same job. Every TIC shows heat, but not every TIC should be used to make fireground decisions. In our system, we separate TICs into 2 categories: decision-making TICs and situational awareness TICs. Once you understand that difference, everything else makes sense. Let's talk riding assignment first, because that's where the confusion usually starts. Our decision-making camera is the FLIR K65. That K65 rides in the officer seats on the engine and the ladder. Our situational awareness cameras are the TIC Fire Pro 300 and the FLIR K2. Those are for firefighters to use during interior work to stay oriented, to support search, to check hazards, and to support overhaul. So, quick check. If you're the company officer and you're doing the 360 and making the initial tactical picture, that's a K65 job. If you're on the line, on the search, or moving inside and you need better awareness than your eyes can give you, that's Fire Pro 300 or K2. Now, what do I mean by decision-making TIC? I'm talking about a camera you can rely on to support tactical choices. Where is the fire really located? What's the heat profile doing as we move in? Is there extension into the attic or a void space? Is the hallway getting worse or better after water? Do we have a flow path problem? That's the lane of the K65. The K65 has higher resolution and a faster image refresh. It also has modes that are built for different tactical tasks, and it can record images and video clips for training and review. Now, let's tie that into our Midwest guidance, because this isn't nice to have, it's expected performance. Our Midwest SOG tells us a 360 size up with a TIC is mandatory at all incidents, and it should happen as early as possible. It also requires a 360 and basement report before entry on a residential fire. So, when you hear 360 with TIC, in our riding assignment, that's the officer with the K65. Here's how I want you to think about that 360. You're building a baseline thermal picture. You're looking for the seat of the fire, heat pushing behind windows, thermal signatures that confirm or contradict what you're hearing and seeing. And you're doing it early, before we commit crews deep. Now, K65 modes. This matters. The K65 has 5 modes we care about. T-Basic NFPA mode, Black and White Firefighting mode, T-Basic Plus NFPA mode, Search and Rescue mode, and Heat Detection mode. Here's the simple way to remember it. Green icon modes are your auto range modes. They automatically switch between high sensitivity and low sensitivity depending on what's in the scene. Blue icon modes lock into high sensitivity. That's useful when you're trying to keep the best possible image for cooler targets, like victims, even if there's hotter stuff in the camera's field of view. So, as an officer, if I'm doing the 360 and building my tactical picture, I'm generally living in the green icon, auto range world because it's balanced for the fire environment. If I'm specifically hunting for people and I want the image to stay optimized for those lower temps, then I'm thinking about the blue icon modes. Now this part is important and it applies to all thermal imaging cameras. When you pick up a TIC, you have to give the camera time to adjust to the fire scene. If you grab it, flip it up for half a second, and drop it back down, the camera has not had time to process what it's seeing. Different cameras adjust at different speeds depending on heat, contrast, and mode. If you move too fast, the image can lag, wash out, or appear frozen. That doesn't mean conditions are stable. It means the camera hasn't caught up yet. So the rule is simple. When you use a TIC, bring it up, hold it steady, let it adjust, then interpret what you're seeing. Don't snap it up and down and trust the first frame you see. A rushed scan can give you bad information, and bad information leads to bad decisions. Now I want to talk about something else that can get people hurt if they don't understand it. TICs can save lives, but the spot temperature number in the center of the screen can also get people killed if it becomes the only thing you're watching. That center dot temp is an average reading of a very small target area at a certain distance on a specific surface. It does not tell you what the entire room is doing. It does not tell you what the smoke layer is doing. And it does not tell you what's building above your head. Here's a common trap. You see 184 degrees on a concrete wall and assume the environment is manageable. Meanwhile, the smoke layer overhead may be hundreds of degrees hotter, signaling rapid fire growth and potential flashover conditions. The number in the center of the screen is one data point, not the answer. So don't chase the number. Read the whole picture. Smoke behavior, heat felt through PPE, fire response to water, and time. The TIC informs you. It does not decide for you. Now I want to switch over to the firefighter cameras, the TIC Fire Pro 300 and the FLIR K2. These cameras are situational awareness tools. They help you do your job inside more safely and more effectively. But I want to be crystal clear. They are not a replacement for a disciplined search. They are not permission to stare at the screen and stop reading the building. And they are not a magic, there's no heat, so there's no problem device. Let's start with the TIC Fire Pro 300. The Fire Pro 300 has two main operating modes you need to know: fire mode and survey mode. Fire mode is what you think of for interior firefighting. It's built for the fireground environment where you've got higher temperatures and you need a usable picture in real conditions. Survey mode is more of an investigative and post-fire assessment mode. It highlights heat sources and temperature anomalies at lower thresholds. Here's the key point. Survey mode is great for things like 360 size up during initial scene assessment, smells and bells investigations like alarm activations or odor of smoke, overhaul to locate hotspots, and even certain search and rescue situations outside the fireground where visibility is compromised but active fire isn't present. The Fire Pro also has TI Basic Plus. That gives you a reticle and a temperature readout so you can compare this spot versus that spot. It's a tool for comparing and identifying hazards, not a promise of exact temperature everywhere. Now, recording on the Fire Pro 300. You can capture images and you can record video. If you're recording for training, keep it professional and remember your priorities. The fire doesn't care that you're recording. After the incident, you can connect it to a computer and pull the files for review. Now the FLIR K2. The K2 is compact and easy to use. It's a solid situational awareness camera. It has multiple image modes, and it has MSX, which helps add visible detail to the thermal image so you can stay oriented. But here's a big thing people assume incorrectly. The K2 is basically a live view tool. It does not store images on board. So don't expect to pull video later from a K2. That's not what it's for. So if you're a firefighter and you're carrying a K2, your mindset is this. Use it to keep yourself oriented. Use it for quick checks. Use it to support search and overhaul. But do not confuse it with the officer's decision-making camera. Now, this part is important, and it applies to all thermal imaging cameras. When you pick up a TIC, you have to give the camera time to adjust to the fire scene. If you grab it, flip it up for half a second, and drop it back down, the camera has not had time to process what it's seeing. Different cameras adjust at different speeds depending on heat, contrast, and mode. If you move too fast, the image can lag, wash out, or appear frozen. That doesn't mean conditions are stable. It means the camera hasn't caught up yet. So the rule is simple. When you use a TIC, bring it up, hold it steady, let it adjust, then interpret what you're seeing. Don't snap it up and down and trust the first frame you see. A rushed scan can give you bad information, and bad information leads to bad decisions. Now let's talk about battery, because none of this matters if the camera dies when you need it. Our expectation is simple. At shift change, when you check your air pack, you check your TIC. That means power it on, make sure it boots correctly, confirm the lens is clean, verify the battery indicator is in the green, confirm the mode you want it in, make sure straps and lanyards are secure, then put it back where it belongs, mounted or charging. Battery life, big picture. The FirePro 300 gives you a battery time remaining indicator in minutes. The K2 and K65 are about 4 hours of typical use. But the practical rule is this. Don't start a fire with a questionable battery. If it's yellow or red at shift check, fix it now, not on the fire ground. And for the Officer K65, if you're recording video clips, remember that recording eats power, so manage that. Record what matters for training or after action, but don't let recording become the mission. Last piece, what TICs are not. They are not X-ray vision. Glass and shiny surfaces can reflect heat. Water and steam can distort what you see. Insulation can hide heat. And no obvious heat does not always mean no fire. Also, TICs do not replace an oriented search. You still need your wall, your rope, your door control, your communication, and your discipline. And finally, don't bury your face in the screen. Scan, decide, then move with your head up. All right, if you remember nothing else from today, remember this. Right camera, right way, right job. K65 is for officer decision-making and the 360. FirePro 300 and K2 are for firefighter situational awareness inside. Use the tool. Don't let the tool use you.